Evening all, is Christmas Eve, and I guess it's now time for probably one of the, the second most special game in our register, or whatever you want to call this, our advent calendar. And it's a doozy, and it's an obvious one. It's Minecraft. Yes, I'm finally giving in and playing Minecraft on my channel. What am I doing? Now, I have played Minecraft, I've found out, since November 2010. No, I think I've got that right, because I had to unlock my account because I've not used it in a while. And to do that, you have to prove that you've actually got a Minecraft account and blah, blah, blah. And I found out I actually bought this in November 2010. So I've been playing it quite a while. Now, let me tell you, I mean, again, if you've never played Minecraft, then wow. Minecraft, it's a game that really does polarize the gaming community. A vast number of people obviously love it. But also a vast number of people see it as a bit twee, a bit kind of kiddie, and a bit of a kid's game, which I would say is wrong. I think it's probably one of those examples of a game that has just completely changed the whole face of gaming, and we've now got a fairly lengthy video to discuss why. And what I'm going to do in this video is sped up in certain sections, because I wanted to show just one long take of starting a new map, because certainly I think the joy of this game is really all about, kind of setting up and creating something from nothing. As you see, you spawn in a completely kind of, barren open world, and it's up to you then to define the parameters of that world, what you'll do with it, where you'll mine, how you'll interact and build. And I think, quite frankly, it's its singular appeal is that it's a sandbox survival game, which again, back when this came out, was quite rare. I mean, there didn't actually exist that much. And what I think it's turned into is kind of a genre-defining art experiment. Do you know what I mean? Because when you see certainly the power of this game, and you see certainly the scale and scope of what people do with this game, you realize it's actually something a huge amount more than just a survival sandbox thing. And we'll talk about that, because I think there's quite a sort of lengthy kind of background to this game. Now, the irony is this game came from obviously one guy, Notch, who created this game, who had a great idea. He'd been playing a particularly similar game before, and he got the idea that, imagine a world created entirely of blocks. So it's a very, very clever, simple idea. And to be honest, it's been copied ad nauseum nowadays, which is a bit of a shame. And he created this game. And my first experience of it was when I was way, way, way back, when I was in Goonswarm. We had a forum, obviously, that talked about other games. And, Goons, we didn't just play Eve. We actually gave other stuff a go. And I think what was quite interesting about this game particularly was one of the guys playing it was he was a funny chap, and he just said, I remember opening up the forum post, and I think the forum post said something like, and I didn't know anything about the game, he said, "To the person who has just destroyed our pirate ship with lava and dynamite, go suck a dick and die." It was just like, what? And I remember looking at this game thinking, wow, that sounds a bit odd. So I back then, literally when it came out, it was like alpha. It was cheap, really, really cheap as a game. So I remember taking a bit of a punt on it, thinking, oh well, never know, it might be good. And I bought the game, and I logged on to the server that the Goons had set up, and all I could see was just basically chaos, destruction, and literally the whole world was a light. And I remember stood here looking at the vista, much as I do here, and laughed at the whole spectacle of it all, because what had been created was a game that just completely blew my mind. And I think that pretty much was it. As soon as I realized, whoa, actually I can do anything in this game almost, I was hooked. And I started playing it quite a bit, but I played it as a solo player mostly, because back then the multiplayer support was pretty terrible, and playing this kind of game with Goons was also pretty terrible, because everybody's just generally a bit of a dicklord or a wannabe dicklord. So it was one of those games I think best played lone until a little bit of order comes to the chaos. And I think what I certainly found when I started playing it was just the most incredible kind of depth and scale, really. So as you see here, we're kind of delving deep, and it is called Minecraft. You are mining and you craft, simple as that. And I think the mining and certainly the crafting part of it was very interesting. But I would say that, you know, that's all well and good. What completely sold me on this game, what, 3 years ago, something like that, almost 4 years ago, was just the simplicity of the whole block concept. So you could pretty much build anything. There wasn't gravity. There's no gravity to worry about in terms of block placement, which I think is a good thing. I think that's quite a clever move. And as you can see, what it became like was a massive train set. So way back when, before computers did a lot more bleeping and blooping, and you had to load tapes, you know, to be honest, there wasn't really anything there that you could kind of sculpt or create. There was no craft, certainly that. And you played a game because, you know, you had to go and, you know, I don't know, fly a spaceship from A to B and then kill the massive, I don't know, whatever it was at the end of the mission. And that is all well and good. What then very quickly happened, I think, was you know, people realized actually you want a bit more than that, and programmers, I think, started to play things like Elite. They started to play open world kind of adventures, and again, very quickly people realized that they could do so much more with you know, with the game as it was. So really, games like Minecraft were almost in their genesis as soon as some of these other games were on the market as well. So Elite and, you know, many others, I think, have created you know, the genesis of this game. And it was a funny one, really, because it started as such a sort of slow burner as well, and it was only, I think, through the power of YouTube that this game has become what it is today. And I think that's a whole topic of discussion that we'll also include today, because I mean, YouTube, obviously, I mean, I think I still talk to people who know nothing about YouTube. They don't even understand it. So when I say to them, oh yeah, I do YouTube, I might as well just say, yeah, I have sex with cats in my spare time. And the look they give me is one of pretty much frank disgust, and it's what you give somebody who you just, you know, you would rather not leave your kids with them. And I think when you say to people, I play computer games or whatever it may be, people are very distrustful of that as a hobby, which is a shame, because it is seen. It was earmarked mostly in the sort of late 90s and early mid 90s as a child's kind of pastime, which is a shame because it's not at all. Gaming, I think, has always been something that has much more kind of roots in, you know, in almost pop culture, because, you know, a lot of, I guess, you know, creative people have always wanted to either be pop stars or film stars, and then really the game industry has created a third wing here, which is they want to be a games developer or something. And I think, you know, when you've got some really good kind of clever, simple kind of concepts like Minecraft come out, I think really it does change everything. And I think Minecraft can be said, and the reason it's so high on our advent calendar, the reason it is so high is because it did change everything. It was a complete kind of prodigy when it came to this kind of game. And anyway, so that's kind of the genesis of it. And I must admit, I have played this probably more than any other game ever, with probably the one exception of X3 Terran Conflict. I think that's probably the one game I've played just that little bit more, only because you kind of would leave that running overnight. But I think in terms of actual physical play, this is the kind of game that I think I have just completely immersed myself within many times. And the funny thing about it is it's a multi-staged approach as well. So you start obviously trying to survive, and that's where I am currently now. It's all about building a bit of a base and having somewhere sort of safe to kind of you know, build from, and that's what we're doing here. But then once you've obviously taken care of all your survival needs, then it's all about thriving. So you go from survive to thrive, and that is probably the more enjoyable part of the game. And I think as we now start to kind of, you know, reality is that, okay, we need food, but, you know, I've played this game so many times now, I know that food actually isn't too important. As long as you can keep your damage under control, then food isn't that important. So what we're going to do is we're going to build a stairway down, and this really is, I think, the subtext of the whole quote train set thing. And this is why it's funny, really, because you see a lot of people, you know, refer to Minecraft as, you know, an oversized train set, because it is about creating something that you would say to your friends, you know, hey, come around, look at this. And that's exactly what people used to do with train sets. I think people still do. I mean, if you've got a train set, post in the comments. I'll be thrilled to hear if people still actually make and do the whole train set thing. I think nowadays you could just actually buy it all on Steam, can't you? You can buy like train simulators on Steam. Did I see that right? I can't remember. But it does feel nowadays that It's not a kind of thing that people do so much. So gaming, and I think gaming, the future of gaming, if you like, is always replacing something like the physical aspect of what something may be. And I think particularly train sets, etc., will always going to be sort of taken over by stuff like Minecraft. And again, Minecraft's kind of joy, I guess, is that there is something quite nice about building. You put like a group of like 3 or 4 or 5 kids in a room with a console and a game, the first thing they'll generally do is play the one where you shoot people and kill people. Now, Minecraft has completely thrown that on its head, because you put people in a room with computers in Minecraft, you find that very quickly they work together to build something. Now that's unusual, isn't it? There is something very sociologically interesting about this game, that it actually creates a kind of a community spirit, dare I say, and that is really weird, and I think well worthy of study almost, because this game is so much more than just a game now. It's actually a teaching aid. So teachers, teachers obviously are using technology and such to betterment of this class now. They're actually using games like this in the class to explain how mechanisms work, to explain how the environment works. Okay, it's not about planting a sapling and seeing a tree grow in about 2 minutes. It's not that, obviously, but it's just more about the fact that there is an open world that you can manipulate in many different ways here. So you could show the ideal farm. You could build, engineers. I think of all the time I spent at university learning to be an engineer, and at no point did we use a computer for anything. At no point did we do anything of any interest at all. Imagine if an architect student was given Minecraft and they're told, right, go and build, X, Y, Z. And the beauty of it is some countries, they're actually using Minecraft as a full teaching aid now. And I think there's just something very glorious about that whole thing. In terms of where we are then, so survival is pretty much done. So what we're doing now is farming monsters for a little bit of materials, and I think we're running low on food, but it's another glorious day, and I always used to love the sunrise and sunset in this game. It's always very beautiful, but it's so simple, isn't it? It's just such a simple idea. I bet everybody who plays Minecraft wishes they'd thought of it. I saw that Notch is now the 4th largest taxpayer in Sweden, so it just tells you, and I think they sold 13 million copies of this game now. Which is just astonishing. And the irony again is that this is a real kind of step away. So let me explain why the business side of this is quite interesting as well, because Notch could have been like every other developer out there and said, no, they don't want anybody to make mods for their game. They don't want anyone to do footage and monetize it for their game. He wasn't like that at all. It was a close call, apparently, which is a very interesting thing, because if you look on YouTube now, the guarantee is that the top gaming videos is likely to be Minecraft. There are going to be something like 1/3 of all of the gaming videos out there are probably something to do with Minecraft. That's pretty unusual, and I think if you only imagine what it would have been like if he'd have said, nope, no one can monetize my footage. I think you have whole industries and whole careers built on doing videos of Minecraft. That blows my effing mind, because I first came into obviously Minecraft before I watched YouTube. So obviously, when I heard that people were also playing Minecraft on YouTube, I was curious. I was like, oh, okay, let's have a look at that. And that's how I found the Yogscast, somebody I followed for many years. And it's incredible, because if you go back, literally, 3 years ago, maybe 2.5 years ago, I started watching their stuff. And if you go and watch their stuff now, it's still Minecraft, and it's an incredible kind of extension of that. But it's fascinating to see, obviously, how a single game can make an entire, I guess, business community behind it. And I think channels have gone from 50 subscribers up to 5, 10, 15 million subscribers now by playing Minecraft. I mean, that's lovely. I think there is nothing more enjoyable about that. And it takes somebody like Notch, who is pretty much a decent guy, who isn't greedy, he isn't a commercial animal, to actually say, do you know what, go for it. Make mods, if you think you can do better, go for it. I mean, that takes a hell of a person to admit that. And I think what they've produced, and Minecraft, just through its ethos of almost being a little bit kind of new age, little bit trippy hippie almost, have produced a genre, and I think they've produced, well, they've defined the genre, but they've also produced a huge industry from their product, which I would say pretty much ensures that their product will always be very, very successful, even into the future when, you know, people are, the next Minecraft could come out, but people will still play this because it is completely stormed YouTube. It is everywhere. You have, you know, channels dedicated to producing content daily for this. So I think that's, you know, this is why it's kind of so important, because this was the game that kind of made me want to do a YouTube channel as well. I didn't want to do Minecraft because it's kind of been done, you know, and certainly people would do it a lot better than I do it, but it did give me the kind of impetus to look at the whole thing in a bit more I guess light. I've always recorded footage. That's the one thing that I've always done all my life, is ever since I found Fraps, pretty much, I have recorded footage and done gaming videos for my own consumption, for my own interest. And I think this is why Minecraft, I think, is so important to me, because it really was, I guess, the game that pushed it into more of a kind of formal setting. So I wanted to do a proper channel, etc. So hence why it's here today. And it's just, I mean, you can see here, look at the OCD kicking in for me. You know, it is a wonderful game that you actually do want to make everything work and look nice. And look at this, it is a train set. It literally is a train set. And I think that's just awesome. You know, it's just something that you take pride in doing. So if you know, Airfix models, it used to be when, you know, I think my dad was young. I never understood the whole Airfix thing myself. Even I was too young for that. But pretty much, I think it became something that you know, people just have this incredible love with. And when you see some of the things that people build as well, it is really an outlet artistically as well. I mean, it's just astonishing how clever and talented some people are with what they can do in this game. And I think, you know, if anything, the beauty of this game is it's created an avenue for that as well. You know, YouTube, I think, is probably thanking God that Minecraft was released, because again, Google must be making billions from all of these videos that are being put on their website that people go and consume. And I think, you know, something like, I think 90 million views every, I think, what is it, 90 million views every hour or every 2 hours are happening for this kind of content, and that's earning a massive amount of advertising revenue. So, you know, fair play to the whole thing. It was almost like you know, no one party created this. It was almost like a whole collection of people creating something quite new and interesting. And I think, yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, everybody's always, you know, since year dot, people have always put gaming footage on YouTube, but I do feel that the explosion of it all did happen with things like Minecraft. And I think even some of the biggest channels today, you know, out there, did technically start as Minecraft channels. So I think that's interesting as well, and I think that's quite worthy of discussion. So here we go. In the game, we've actually now broken through into a kind of second layer, and I'm just going to show you this as I whiz through the footage. This is just sped up a little bit. And this is probably one of the beauties of the game, is that you can go spelunking, literally spelunking, and you end up really looking around and looking for resources and fighting dudes, and, you know, look at this, look at that, dead. And I think it's really quite cool how, you know, the whole game comes alive when you kind of go underground. So definitely interesting stuff. So hopefully you enjoyed that. I think certainly when we look at Minecraft, I think we should conclude that it is, you know, probably, you know, I put it at number 2, and I think that's important for me, because obviously this was, I think, a very important game for me. I have played just days and hours of this, and hopefully you can see that from how well I'm playing. Maybe not. But I think certainly you know, this is one of those games that just completely changed the whole face of gaming and TV gaming and that kind of thing. And I think certainly when it comes to things like YouTube, which is a place where pretty much people consume their media now, you know, it's not about switching on a telly and watching TV anymore. It's, you know, this is where I think the future of gaming is going to be, because quite frankly, you know, the younger generation are growing up consuming footage and content the way they want it, when they want it, how they want it. And, you know, there is a very likely possibility that soon the TV will be removed, and what will be put in place is a kind of quasi-computer TV hybrid. and that'll be then when you have this, and it's already happening. If you've got smart TV, then you're probably already doing something very similar to this, but very soon it won't be there probably won't even be schedules. It will just be, right, we have now released this, go enjoy it, and people will just go watch it. And I think that's pretty much how YouTube works currently. You know, you do get channels that do schedule stuff, but I think the reality is it's more about consuming the media when you want to consume it. And I think that's obviously quite important in terms of you know, certainly how I think a lot of channels have developed is really just about giving people what they want. So we always try and do a daily dust, and it doesn't take as long to do. It takes us probably about 20-25 minutes to do that now. But you know, there's other things that we could do, and there's other things that we should be doing. And I think this is why, I mean, again, I always said when I started the channel, right back to square one, and in conclusion, that I always said when I started this channel, I'd never do a Minecraft video. I always said that because it's just such a thing, it's such a scary thing to do, because again, when you look at some of the quality of how others do it, they do it so well. And I think for me to do it is going to be a bit like a tit running around at super speed doing God knows what. And I think that was almost my biggest fear in this. So there we go. As we finish off, we're just doing our little bit of door creation. As you can see, we've now got automated doors. So much more I could show you, and maybe if I get the balls, I'll do it in the new year. But as it stands, I wanted to just bring you a video that meant something incredibly important to me, and Minecraft was it. Hope you enjoyed that. See you next time.